Hey, you liberal fruitcakes. Tariffs, electricity, and Trudeau. Let's talk about them. So a lot of things have shifted in the market over the past couple of days regarding tariffs. A lot of misunderstandings on Ontario's threat against U.S. electricity. And a lot of statements coming from Trudeau. So let's look into it. Number one, tariffs. Every country uses tariffs. I said this in my video last night. I've said this in previous videos. Every single country uses tariffs against the United States. So why can't the U.S.? Everybody goes, it's retaliation. It's trying to get countries to do what you want. Yeah, that's generally the rule of thumb for tariffs. I've got a novel concept. And I think if you disagree, you should reevaluate some of your life decisions. Or the way you approach economic stability for our country. If a country has tariffs on us, we get to tariff them. England is imposing taxes or tariffs on U.S. imported cars, pushing us out of the European market. Tariffs are also great negotiating tactics, which I've said previously. This is just rehashing old news to get countries to hold up their end of the bargain when it comes to border security. And you're going to say, it's not that big of a problem for Canada. It doesn't matter. It's still a problem. If we're investing money in our border security, you should have to do in kind. We're neighbors. If you want to be cordial neighbors, we both are responsible for fixing the fence. So stop crying about tariffs. Now, there are many who are saying that, Trump's just going to use it to cripple Canada just to get us to be the 51st state. Hold on to that thought. We'll get to that at the end. Number two, electricity. Ontario's Premier, Doug Ford, said that he would use the threat of cutting off American electricity if we moved forward with tariffs, of which many Canadian economists said, that's a silly idea. But why? Canada sells the United States roughly 60.8 terawatt hours of electricity each year. That equals about $4.4 billion in annual revenue. Now, believe it or not, guess what? The United States also sells electricity back to Canada, equaling $1.3 billion worth of electricity sold back to Canada. So maths, and it does. Towards their total actual revenue for electricity, it's $3.1 billion. Now, that's quite a bit of money. So Canada, you want to shut off power to the United States. You know what happens to America? Not very much. And this is because of the complexity of our electrical grid system, which is integrated heavily with Canada and the rest of the United States. So it's not as easy as flipping off a switch. And guess what? America's really resilient. And because of the complexity of our integrated electrical systems, it would not be severely detrimental to the United States. The short-term impacts. There would be an immediate strain on the electrical grid system. But that just means that each particular state would just have to rely more heavily on coal, nuclear, hydro in those areas, which they are capable of doing. They would just have to ramp up production, which wouldn't take as long as making big changes to the electrical grid system to help buffer the issues at hand. Now, in the long term, if high demands were to continue, which I can guarantee they're not, because cutting off the electricity for Canada to America is not a good idea, you would see rolling blackouts while they worked on the electrical grid system, which we have the capacity, and we should be prioritizing making sure that our grid system is capable of being taken care of from us. Then we can be equitable trade partners later down the road. What do these rolling blackouts mean? Well, California knows. They see it all the time during fire season. And they make it work. They make it work pretty darn well. It's unfortunate and inconvenient, but it's not going to severely impact us. And this does mean that we would need to ramp up production in natural gas, nuclear, which we really should be focusing on because it's gotten a lot better since Chernobyl, and other renewable energy projects, which, believe it or not, are all being worked on right now. Woo! So the reality is it would be fine. We would be fine. But there are many Canadian politicians who are in support of what Trump does, who said that it would negatively impact relations between the United States. Tariffs don't really do that as much, or shouldn't, because Canada already tariffs us, which we talked about. Number three, Trudeau. Well, I don't know why I keep seeing his face on the internet. I thought he was done. For somebody who said that he's going to step down and he's going to stop making policies on behalf of the Canadian government, he's really kind of kicking the can down the road while you guys wait for your elections. Don't you want him to just be quiet for a little bit? Let the people that you vote in talk on behalf of your country? I know he's still technically your prime minister, but just saying. But he said that, these tariffs are trying to cripple the economy of Canada. No, they're not. No, they're not. If America was really trying to cripple Canada's economics, the easiest way to do that is through your car manufacturing industry. which we were going to place a 25% tariff on all car manufacturing coming back into the United States from Canada, which if you look into would cripple your country in a week. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of jobs would be lost. Cities would be financially strained because of the loss of jobs. And that's not a good thing. We don't want that. Not as the United States. You might say we do. We don't. Which is why today Trump paused tariffs on car manufacturing. And if you think that Trump's just making these decisions willy-nilly and it's just him, you don't think that he has an entire cabinet saying, how we need to approach this? It's not just one person. It's a crap ton of people. Economists, policymakers, lawmakers, lawyers, international relations experts, all talking about this. So you need to stop listening to Trudeau because he doesn't know what's best for your country. It's obviously been proven by the fact that he's stepping down. So deep breaths. We're all going to be fine. And at the end of the day, we have to be partners. But we don't have to be friends. Have a good day!